Hi, my friend Celeste wrote a fabulous book entitled Back, Belly, and Side, True Lies and False Tales. Celeste Rita Baker. She wrote some really fabulous short stories in here, and a lot of them I reread. You know how you reread your favorite stories? Well, there's one that I couldn't reread without hesitancy, but I'd like to show how wonderful her writing is. Now, you can put me on audio. Go do whatever you have to do. You don't have to look at me. Anyway, this one is entitled Nobody. Nobody. Yeesh. When a police siren blasted into the stillness of Francine's apartment, she woke up. The wail disturbed her soul and gave her goosebumps, her pores contracting and tightening as if to insulate her from loss, because surely a siren meant loss of life, freedom, a limb, a future. Somebody would lose something. She shivered and twisted herself up in the 3 handmade quilts she had gotten from the second-hand store. But she knew she wouldn't be able to go back to sleep, not without accomplishing something to bring the future closer, something to chase away the ruthless memories that surfaced every time she heard a siren. At first, it had been fun, and it was fun for a long time. Being away from mommy, no school, no sneaking out of the house to meet her friends, glorious and divine. Her own party name was Fancy, with clothes her mother wouldn't have let her buy, much less wear, even if she did have the body to carry it off. Now she slept late, stayed up late, getting into clubs and bars she'd never even heard of. She was 15 with fake ID and real designer goods, living it up with Renault on her arm, money in her purse, and nothing but good times on her mind. She'd moved in with Renault, who lived with Bernie and Boyo. She decorated the 3-bedroom apartment and made it more like a home. She cooked and cleaned, putting to use the skills her mother had always insisted on calling a woman's work. But she also shopped and shopped, unlike her mother, who did the work of a man and a woman, and got no joy or rewards from either. Fancy believed that work was for pay. She'd done the work and the pay was great. Renault always came first, but when he'd become more generous with her, to Bernie and Boyo, her credit card limits tripled too. And then, after 2 years of no accidents and no mistakes, she was pregnant. And then the lock was changed. The credit cards were reported stolen, and she was alone. She tried to go home, knowing she'd be made to have an abortion and forced to live like a child again. But there she was, in a $3,000 coat with $26.37 in her Kate Spade bag. None of Renault's friends wanted her, would open their doors, answer their phones. When she pushed the buzzer for the 3rd-floor walk-up she'd lived in with her mother and 2 younger brothers, an old lady answered. "Shoo, shoo," she told her. "This is my apartment now." 3 months later, she'd almost lost the baby to hypothermia. February 3rd, 11 degrees, 3 a.m., blaring sirens, frozen blood. They told her she'd been comatose for 143 days with no visitors. A cesarean had saved the baby, a girl, and she'd been given up for adoption. Or maybe sent to an orphanage. They weren't sure which. The social worker had gotten married and quit. The sprinklers had gone off in the records room. Files drenched, computers fried. Turned out the off-site backup company was well within their rights to withhold service since they hadn't been paid.